It is a period of Star Wars mania, as new movies, comic books, novels, and TV shows populate the system. Fueled by their love and passion for the galaxy far, far away, two exceptional geeks tap into hundreds of holocrons in order to bring you the knowledge and insight of all things Star Wars. Come and join them as they go inside the Force.
Welcome, everybody, back to Inside the Force. I'm David Cottingham, along with Casey Cooley.
Hello, everybody.
This is episode 19, the Uncanny one, as we finish up our fifth installment and final installment of Bounty Hunter Month.
Yes.
Awesome, huh?
Yeah, it's been a good month.
If you want to go back and listen to our previous Bounty Hunters that we've covered, the first week we talked about Bosk in the pilot of the Hound's Tooth. After that, we did Greedo, and then Aurra Sing, and then last week we touched on IG-88, which was very awesome.
Yeah,
he's been my favorite, honestly.
Yeah.
And then, of course, this week we are going to talk about the fifth Bounty Hunter, which is Zuckuss.
Yeah.
Yes, we had to really think about this because we didn't.
Right.
There was several we can do, and ultimately, what we decided was, eventually down the road, we will do a second Bounty Hunter month,
A sequel,
and we will touch on bounty hunters that you may be wondering about as well. Guys like Dengar, Forlom, which we'll mention a lot in this episode. Cad Bane, and probably the other one is Bosch, right?
Bausch. That's how we're saying it.
Bausch.
It's our
That's
pronunciation.
Right. Who people might not even know who that is.
No, I never knew his name.
Yes, and we're not even going to tell you yet.
Ooh.
You got to figure him out.
I already got the quote in mind for when we do that.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I think I know which one you're talking
Just
about.
whatever. I mean, yeah.
All right. So anyway, what we're going to do is we're actually going to kind of breeze right through Zuckuss, his major points and what he was and stood for, because we want to get to the big news from the weekend, everything that came out of Star Wars Celebration Europe.
Jeez.
A lot of stuff there
Huge.
to comment about.
Might be a bit of a long episode.
Yes, so we're going to knock that out for you.
Yeah.
And then we're going to talk a little bit about the card game, which we've been playing a lot of this past week.
Yeah.
We had some family in town and taught them, and we just went off on it. Then, of course, we'll finish up with some trivia and then introduce you to what we're doing next month.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Zuckuss. There's not record of him being born.
No.
So we don't know what year he was born, but he was born on the homeworld of Gond, which is a planet in the Outer Rim territories where most of these bounty hunters come from. So he was born on Gond as a male, and the big thing about the people of Gond is they have a thing called the Findsmen, which is a race of elite religious trackers, which have the ability through meditation to locate prey, basically. And it's intuition that gave him the title, the Uncanny one.
Right.
Because he can, which obviously lends itself to bounty hunting as well. But this obviously wasn't a career that was chosen. He was just on the planet and regarded as a high divine person on there until the Galactic Empire came in and took over his planet and introduced the planet to high-tech equipment, which in the end rendered the Findsmen obsolete. They were no longer, their intuition anyway wasn't no longer needed or even important anymore because everybody can do it with technology. So basically made him want to leave the planet, basically disgraced in a sense, because it even talks about him having developed a second personality. Yeah.
It's like, because it seems like the race of Gond was like, they were very, what's the word I think of? Like they're basically all like one whole cohesive unit.
Mm-hmm.
They all like refer to themselves I think, as a we, as like we're
Right.
all together in this. When Zuckuss was like, "No, it's me."
Oh, it's I and
Yeah,
me.
it's I. It's
You're
me.
right.
I'm separate from you.
So he leaves his homeworld and chooses to find employment off-world. Is mentioned as being the first to do that since the first Jedi Purge, which was years.
Yeah, first, it's not the one that you all think from Episode 3.
No.
If you know the Knights of the Republic, the KOTOR games.
Yeah, we're
that's-
talking thousands
yeah.
of years ago. It's
Right.
maybe even a couple thousand years.
Right, the old Republic.
The old Republic. So anyway, using his ability of the ability to define the future and find his prey, he became a bounty hunter and one of the most successful bounty hunters. Joined the Bounty Hunters Guild. Of course, at the time was led. If you listen to our Bosk,
Yeah.
his father was the one that basically ran the guild, and he joined while under Bosk's father's rule, but then eventually became, after being so successful by himself, he took a job from none other than Jabba the Hutt,
Yeah.
and ended up being on Jabba the Hutt's payroll for a while. And it was Jabba that partnered him up with the droid assassin Forlom. Not to be confused with the droid assassin IG-88 that
Yeah.
we did last week. There's a couple droids out there that are...
There are, yeah. Absolutely.
So Forlom and him form a unique pair with Zuckuss' ability, foresight ability, Forlom's analytical skills as a droid. Basically just made them unbeatable.
Right.
And it's documented through several different hunts and captures and bounties that they just were successful after mission after mission after mission. Then it came down to, in a case, I don't know if you want to explain it, because I think, like you said, you hit on this before. It came down to a competition of sorts. What was ended up calling the hunt for the Yavin Basilica.
Yeah.
Which I think you said we mentioned before, but I can't
briefly
remember.
mentioned it, yes.
On one of the bounty hunter,
Yeah, but his
maybe
boss,
his boss probably,
yeah.
because he's involved in it.
Yeah, it was just this huge event, like the hunt for the Basilica, where the Basilica itself, the Yavin Basilica, it's a gem, basically statutes
Worth
just,
millions.
Yeah, it's just whatever, and the mayor, I guess the legend behind it's pretty great. So what this whole event is about, the huts, like the families and clans of the Hutts, whatever. It's Jabba, there's several of them, whatever. They hire a lot of these bounty hunters to go after the Basilica, and it's almost like a competition to find it, and it's a lot of for game and for like all the fortune and all that stuff. Like the bounty hunters, they're not killing anybody. It's just they're almost like treasure hunters this time around. So the Hutts, they get Zuckuss and Bosk that we talked about. Dengar's a part of it. IG-88, and more specifically IG-88B, he's part of it. Greedo, Boba Fett, even Han Solo, Chewbacca, and Lando Calrissian. And I think Greedo even shows up in there somewhere along the line.
Yeah.
So
I think with Han,
Leia,
Yeah,
Lando,
it's
and Chewie.
crazy.
So it's really weird. But so that's and we'll get into that. So Zuckuss was a part of this with Forlom. All these guys are just going after each other after this gem, and it's crazy. It seems like that's a lot of history with these bounty hunters. Is they're not only going after these contracts, but there's a lot of internal fighting between all three of them.
they are.
So it's crazy. I think Zuckuss actually got injured during this competition, the hunt for the Yavin Basilica. He got shot in the arm by Dengar. So pretty ruthless.
And it says that Forlom was also injured as well, and a lot of the credits went to repairing him.
Right.
Because that's the thing, is that what's cool is that they do fight each other a lot, but it seems like these two, Forlom and Zuckuss, were very much a partnership.
Right.
And they always kind of looked out for each other. And when when Forlom got injured or damaged, Zuckuss would repair him. And as we see here in a little bit, it kind of went the other way too. When Zuckuss gets so anyway, they end up they end up splitting up again. Not splitting up, but just separating themselves a little bit. Zuckuss goes back to the guild, until the guild, which we mentioned in Bosk, the guild leader, Bosk's father, is murdered by Bosk.
Yeah,
because Bosk feels
devoured.
like because Bosk feels like, if I remember what we talked about, Bosk feels like he's kind of steered the guild in a wrong direction, and it's gotten weaker.
Yeah.
So Bosk kills him in order to split the guild up into like the higher elite bounty hunters and kind of the smaller ones or whatever.
Yeah.
So he joins Bosk on what was called the Guild Reform Committee, the bigger committee of bounty hunters for a while, and basically served on that, hunting, bounties and whatnot, which leads us to being repartnered with Forlom again when it comes down to episode 5, and the hunt for the Millennium Falcon is what I guess the bounty is deemed. Because he is on the ship, the Executor, when Vader is sitting there telling those 6 guys.
Yeah.
And we've talked about the 6 that are there. Boba, Bosk, Dengar, IG-88, Zuckuss, and Forlom, right? So they're there. They get the bounty to go after Han Solo. Now, in order to make sure I'm saying this right, I think that they end up showing up during the Battle of Hoth.
Yes.
So technically, that was before the Executor.
I was trying to think of it too,
Yes.
like how the order.
Well, the Hoth went first, because then the Millennium Falcon goes out into the asteroid field, and that's when he puts the bounty on him. But Forlom and them were there trying to get. Were they trying to get somebody else? Wasn't it the Imperial governor, Nardix, I think is what they were going after.
Because the rebels wanted him to try him for crimes against whatever war crimes. But
he was an Imperial.
Yeah.
Okay. So they went to the Battle of Hoth, where they helped dismantle the transport Bright Hope.
Yeah.
As an act of good will towards their Imperial employers.
Right.
So, when the bounty came out about Solo, they went out and turned it around to try to gain favor with the rebellion by rescuing those people off of that ship.
Right.
And while they did that and put it on, and they boarded on to Zuckuss' ship, which is, I had the name of it, the Mist Hunter. The Mist Hunter that was Zuckuss' and Forlom ship. So they get on there, and Zuckuss, being previously injured because he's got a mask on, a breathing mask, right?
Yeah, his species are
yes
very strange. Like, you're either born without lungs or you're born with lungs that can only breathe ammonia.
Yes.
So this is Zuckuss. Can only breathe ammonia.
Correct. And in order to save those people, though, he had to change his ship from ammonia to oxygen.
Yeah.
Which kills him. So
it hurts him.
It hurts him really bad. Yeah, it hurts his lungs really bad.
Yeah.
So he's suffering while he's transporting them, because the whole point of this is he's trying to transport them to the rendezvous point where he thinks Han Solo is coming to.
Yeah.
Not knowing that he gets taken by Boba Fett in Cloud City before he gets to the rendezvous point. So, but by this time they get there, and the rebels actually basically save him in a sense where they repair him in a sense where he can prolong his life in a way, right?
Yeah.
Which is crazy, because then he actually becomes a rebel agent. And I think the conclusion was that both him and Forlom figured, they're wanted they were wanted for the rebels, they were wanted from the Empire. Yeah. Their best bet is actually stay with the rebels. Mm-hmm. So they become rebel agents, and it's both of them do. So, and that's the thing, is that and their first mission was to rescue Han Solo from Boba Fett before he delivers him to Jabba. So then, basically what happens is they go after him. They actually work with Boss, Dengar, and IG-88 because we talked about that, how everybody wanted the carbonite frozen Han Solo to get that bounty. So it wasn't as easy as it seemed from Fett. See, at the end of episode 5 and the beginning of episode 6, it just makes it look like Boba just loaded him up and took him there, where there was all kinds of stuff that happened.
Yeah.
All these bounty hunters were attacking Boba Fett because they wanted the bounty. And plus, as you mentioned, it seemed like all these bounty hunter wars that would happen, it seemed like Boba always ended up winning out.
He always just kicks butt.
Yes.
He's like Batman, basically.
I mean, he comes in, swoops the bounty, gets and knocks all these guys out or whatever.
Yeah.
But he ends up, as we say, because he was responsible for the death of IG-88 as well. A couple of them, anyway. I think all of them, actually. I think he did.
Except for the
last one, or the first one. But
it's always like Zuckuss, Boss, they're all working together at some points, doing something. Then suddenly Boba Fett jumps in, takes them all out, and leaves. It's just crazy.
So in pursuing Boba, basically what happens is 4-LOM gets injured by Boba.
Yeah.
In the end, Zuckuss they obviously don't get Han, and they suffer a lot of casualty. Mm-hmm. I think that this is where Bosk almost loses his ship, because we talked about this, and Bosk's thing, the Hunter's Tooth almost gets completely destroyed, severely damaged in a sense. So Zuckuss, obviously befriending 4-LOM for all these years, tries to put him back together, repair him, but in order to do so fully, he actually has to wipe his memory.
Yeah.
Which basically changed his personality.
Right.
And was never really the same person or same droid anyway. Yeah. And obviously that relationship
sadly ended.
Kind of sadly ended. They kind of went their different ways from then. So, and in the end, he basically left and became a full-fledged bounty hunter again, moved to the Outer Rims, started just bounty hunting for...
Just living his life.
Yeah, living his life. And eventually worked for the New Republic after that was established after. So he's still around as far as I think the expanded universe goes. Mm-hmm. But as far as I guess canon stuff, that's pretty much his life. What else? We got anything else on Zuckuss?
That's the highlights. There's some cool little stories though about him. Certain little things here and there. His run-ins with.
Now, was he in the Clone Wars at all?
I don't think so.
I don't think he was either. Because there's no really record of him talking about it being. I mean, he was a bounty hunter.
I'm sure he was around.
I'm sure he's around.
Yeah, I think it talks about him going after a Clone Wars Jedi or something like that. But I think that's a book. Right. I think it's an EU book or not the TV show.
Right. So that is Zuckuss in a sense. Like we said, basically you can't say Zuckuss without 4-LOM and 4-LOM without Zuckuss. And like I said, we'll get into 4-LOM eventually when we get to about another bounty hunter month. Because they were a pair that worked together throughout their careers, and happy to say he is not dead.
Yeah,
he's still kicking. So that is Zuckuss, our fifth bounty hunter that we talked about this month, the Uncanny one. So that's a good collection, I think, of bounty hunters.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, probably the most prominent ones in a sense, besides Boba and maybe Jango, but we know too much about them.
Yeah.
We wanted to hit on ones that we probably don't know about too much. Some of the fan favorites, especially Bosk.
Yeah.
And Aura Singh.
Bosk was going to be in the 1313 game, too.
I know. So was Boba, big time. But yeah, Bosk.
Dang.
They made Bosk. Bosk had a lot of good episodes in the Clone Wars.
Yes, that's awesome.
I really like Bosk, and I hope they do some stuff with him, especially if they do this bounty. If they do this Boba Fett movie, I'm sure there's going to be a lot. I'm sure they'll all show. I think they'll all show up at some point, especially if it's during. It has to be between 3 and 4.
Yeah.
So a lot of that stuff's going to be going on. So we might see a lot of stories of them.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so that wraps up Bounty Hunter Month. We are going to keep going, though, with the big news out of Europe, out of Germany. Moving on to what happened over this past weekend, Star Wars Celebration Europe, which I got to mention, it seems like they're doing away with the Roman numerals because they've already done away with them. by calling it Celebration Europe. They don't call it Celebration 2 anymore. Did you even notice that?
It's Europe.
Because it used to say Celebration 2 Europe.
Yeah.
Now it just says Star Wars Celebration Europe.
Yeah.
Because we'll get to it, but they announced when the next celebration is going to happen in the States. Mm-hmm. But we'll talk about first what happened at Star Wars Celebration this past week. What's the first thing you want to...
Gosh, I don't even know. Honestly, I don't know where to start.
Well, I think the first big news that broke...
Did you start with the biggest stuff?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so John Williams is going to compose the music for Star Wars Episodes 7, 8, and 9. And this was confirmed by Kathleen Kennedy while she had her event at Star Wars. And there is about almost a 3-minute video of John Williams talking about coming back, and it's a really good video. We were thinking about the other day, like, how old is he? And you said he's 81 now. But, watching this video of him, he still seems very healthy.
He does.
So,
he does.
I mean, I'm sure he'll pray that he sticks around, is able to complete these movies, because, I mean, getting that old is very dangerous, but he is just as big a fan as all of us, so he will... I'm so thrilled that he's a part of it. And, because we talked about maybe we would get Michael Giacchino or that guy, whatever his name is.
Yes.
J.J. Abrams, frequent composer. So we thought he would be good because he would be able to mimic John Williams while doing something different. But just having John Williams back is going to be the best. Well, that's just going to be awesome.
Because in a sense, I feel like... I think it was John Ottman that did Superman Returns. Yeah. I felt he did really good following John Williams. So there's definitely good composers out there to do that.
Yeah.
But you can't. Yeah. It's the best.
Something that I noticed John Williams was talking about in this video was he said he's excited to kind of use some of the already established
he did that in the prequels, though.
Yeah. And it's just, I'm excited to hear, what if he, what if he uses part of Duel of the Fates like he did in Revenge of the Sith.
I think he probably will.
I want to hear Binary Sunset again. I want to hear all that stuff again. It's just...
Well, see, I think that was the challenge. I remember he talked about the prequels because he always said he wanted to treat the music like the movies.
Yeah.
You know the story already. How do we get to that point?
Yeah.
And he even built the music that way. You can hear the themes in
Absolutely.
4, 5, and 6, in 1, 2, and 3, so you can kind of understand where they came from, which is strange. But now what's great is that he already has those sounds, and now it's taking those into a new direction, which is going to be cool.
Yeah, John Williams, he's back.
Yeah, and that was the video. I mean, it got me. I'll be honest, it got me choked up because when he started talking about meeting with JJ and Kathleen, then he started showing pictures of George, Kathleen, JJ sitting there. It's like,
that's so great.
What power is sitting right there, and what genius is.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about possibly just those three, one of the greatest saga creators ever in George Lucas, one of the greatest producers in Hollywood ever, and then arguably going to be in running as becoming one of the greatest directors ever in J.J. Abrams. Taking over the greatest franchise, it's like, wow, what? That is incredible. I mean, I don't even know what I would say sitting there. But anyway,
there was another photo they showed because there's that famous one, all three of them together.
Yes,
and they showed like a alternate angle of Abrams looking at Lucas, kind of with his hand on his chin, really interested in what he was saying.
Oh, I'm telling you,
what's he telling him? What are you talking about right there? But aside from the John Williams piece of news, there really wasn't much. Talking about episode 7.
No.
They said, I think there was a open Q&A, and I think someone at the celebration stage said no questions about episode 7.
Right.
So they already kind of pre-established, Kathleen Kennedy was already talking. She just said a few things about episode 7, and there's just
they're meeting.
Yeah,
they're still even. It sounds like they're still developing the story.
They are. It says I favorited tons of tweets that happened this past Saturday, where Kathleen Kennedy just go breeze through some of these tweets or some of these quotes. Kathleen Kennedy is saying George Lucas is constantly full of ideas, and they're meeting every day. She's meeting every day with J.J. Abrams and the writing team, Lawrence Kasdan, Simon Kinberg, and Michael Arndt. They're all meeting, talking about the story. So it's all happening, and a lot of the things that she was pushing was talking about the locations. Strangely enough, she's talking about how they're going to push more shooting on real locations as opposed. I mean, they do sound stages, of course, and we already know they're shooting at Pinewood Studios. Mm-hmm. But they're going to. Kathleen Kennedy said that they're going to shoot at new locations, and we're going to see like new kind of settings, new looks, I guess, new locations, and she wants to use real locations, kind of and spray that with the digital effects, not where the prequels kind of had
all
total
green, basically. Yeah.
So we're going to see more real practical settings and locations, which is pretty cool. And little quotes here, funny. Kathleen Kennedy says J.J. Abrams. Actually, she says he embodies the personality of both George Lucas and Steven Spielberg, which is a great combination. It's perfect.
God,
And we already have seen that, basically.
Yeah.
And how George Lucas has downloaded his ideas into JJ. So it sounds like George Lucas is still in there giving
right now.
great input
Absolutely.
on how the story should be told, which is awesome. And George Lucas is giving him like tidbits, like guidelines where saying, whatever you do, like the story has to be fun and inspirational. Has to, he's like the quote says, Star Wars must always be fun. That's the kind of one of the things he's been telling J.J. Abrams. And they're creating new characters. She says they're having an awesome opportunity, creating some amazing new characters. They're going to try to create a complicated story. Let's see, every day they're having lengthy story conversations with the team at Bad Robot and all that stuff. And, and she's Skyping with J.J. Abrams all the time if she's not there personally. She's already going on saying like Episode 7 is her favorite project that she's been working on. And it's just talking about Lawrence Kasdan, all these guys who've already worked on it, and it's fantastic. It's just great. Oh, it's just too good.
Yeah. But and that isn't... I want to mention that again because that is an interesting concept to think about. Because how long have... And even myself, how long have Star Wars fans screamed, why didn't Spielberg direct any of the prequels?
Right.
Or why didn't he, because, I don't know, complete fact, but what I've read was that he was supposed to do Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
But because George was not part of the Directors Guild anymore, he had to the film wasn't really sponsored by the DGA.
Yeah.
That's why he got those guys, Lawrence Kasdan or not Lawrence Kasdan, but Irvin Kershner and Richard Marquardt to do 5 and 6 because they weren't DGA directors.
Okay.
Because that's what I heard. The rumor was Spielberg. He wanted Spielberg to do Return. Even Spielberg wanted to do it, but he wasn't willing to leave the DGA to do it. So. Yeah. And that's why people were like, well, why didn't he do one of the prequels? Or do and obviously he had his own things going on.
Yeah.
In fact, I think that was right around the time, Episode 1 came out at the time Saving Private Ryan came out.
Exactly.
So anyway, but if you think about it, like you said, I mean, I see a lot of Spielberg in JJ.
Absolutely.
His movies are, to me, as moving and as powerful, especially a movie like Super 8.
Yeah.
That has Spielberg written all over
it. Well, some people don't know that Spielberg. I mean, Abrams has been with Spielberg since he was 15 years old.
Exactly.
As
he interned.
Yeah.
He interned. Yeah. Brief history. He interned. And what we mean by intern, he really read scripts and helped with a little bit of the production going on. But like you said, he was an intern, so Spielberg didn't really know him.
Yeah.
And there was 2 other guys he was there with. The 3 guys that he makes movies with right now.
Kathleen Kennedy even was there.
That's right.
She knew him.
For Amblin Entertainment.
Yeah.
And so he goes on and does a film competition with a Super 8 camera with his buddies and ended up winning this competition or whatever. And then that propels him into film school.
Yeah.
And all 3 of these guys kind of stuck together. And that's what it was cool because eventually when you hear interviews with him about Super 8, DreamWorks was a executive producer, right, of Super 8, I think, right?
Yeah.
And Spielberg shows up on set, and he's with his JJ, and JJ is like, I used to work for you. It's like, and Spielberg's like, I know.
Yeah.
So, but that's just amazing to think, like, when he's a kid, he's working for this guy that's, so, I mean, it had to have been in the 80s then, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
80s, early 90s. Because he's
like,
not much older than me. He's like 5 years. He's like in his early 40s, right?
40s, I think.
Yeah. So he's 7-8 years older than me.
Yeah.
So he was probably born early 70s.
Yeah.
Or 70 maybe. And so that had to have been in the mid 80s or so when Spielberg was at his prime, not his prime, but at the tipping point where he had done Jaws and E.T. and Goonies. Mm-hmm. He was on his way to do Schindler's List and Saving Private Ryan and Jurassic Park. Mm-hmm. So anyway, summarize all that. What I mean by it, like you said, because you mentioned George is downloading into JJ. Just imagine the mind of Lucas and the filmmaking ability of Spielberg. I mean, that's exactly what everybody's been screaming about.
Absolutely.
So it's almost like, how could this movie fail?
I know.
But story will be the reason
absolutely.
It fails.
I mean, I have faith in Michael Arndt, and
absolutely.
A thought went through my head, because they have Michael Arndt who's writing the screenplay, but you have Lawrence Kasdan and Simon Kinberg who are as the consultants. I'm thinking, like, how much input do they have? Is because I don't want another Green Lantern thing to happen with all these writers,
right?
So I'm hoping that there is a better system and work there. Michael Arndt has like Abrams has a final say, or someone has a final say in what goes and what doesn't go.
It sounds like Kathleen is probably the ultimate. I would think she's executive producer now. So
well, I mean, besides that too, there's because Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, all these cast members were there, who we all. And it still hasn't been totally confirmed that they're going to be in it. But we all are pretty sure they're going to be in it.
Yeah.
Because they are meeting with trainers that they've said that. Or Carrie Fisher at least has said that.
Yep.
But
I think the only reason is the fact that we don't have a script yet.
Yeah. Probably.
Because I think it's going to be figured out first at what capacity they're going to be in the movie.
And there was a photo, like the first day of Celebration, where a lot of the original cast was there. You see Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher, and we were kind of thinking that they'd be like in super great shape, but they're not like perfect shape. But you can tell that they look healthier. They do.
Totally.
Mark Hamill especially.
Mark looks a little buff.
Yeah. Because there's a picture right here of this one that you're seeing, right? And he's like they're saying like that.
He just looks more solid.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
There's a video, the video blogs that David Collins did of Celebration. You see a brief glimpse of Mark Hamill talking to some fans, and I was just watching it. Like, he looks like less wrinkles in his face because we saw him at the Celebration. We went to Celebration 6, and right, Celebration 5. We saw him at 6. We took pictures with him at 5, right?
At 5, that's right.
Yeah.
Took pictures
and
with him.
I was looking back at that picture that I took with my buddy Adam. He just looks older. He looks older in that picture. So I'm excited. I'm excited of what the progress I have seen.
That's what eating right and working out will do. Yes. It actually make you look younger.
Yeah.
I mean, in a sense, it will make you healthier.
Yeah.
But I think both of them will be like that.
Yeah. And Carrie Fisher didn't say anything about episode 7. But Mark Hamill was asked about it, and there's one quote that was just interesting. This is why I'm talking about it, because he says, they're working on the new movies, and I hope to be a part of it, is what he says. So, he says, if they're going to do this thing, how can I miss out on something that exciting? So, you give him the impression that he hasn't signed on for it yet, and that he doesn't even know that they need him yet. But I mean, they're
I really think.
I mean, that for a while.
That's the thing is that I don't know if this is just my filmmaking intuition, but I really think that they are trying to put together the best Star Wars story for Episode 7, right? Yeah. Well, and sometimes when you do that, you can't just put these characters in there just for the sake of putting them in there.
Right.
There's got to be a reason for it. And maybe if there's not a good reason, they might not. Some or all of them may not show up.
Yeah.
It's not. That's probably why, to me, that we're not seeing them. Now, I do think they're going to end up in it, but it may not be the roles that we were thinking about. Yeah. It could be a simple, Mark Hamill may be in it as much as Episode 1 Yoda, where he's just in it in the council, or he's just there. He's not part of the actual story that's going on.
That's very likely. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Princess Leia, or Chancellor, or whatever she becomes, Senator still, we may only see her in the Senate. We may not see anything else of her. I don't know. Or just sitting there talking to Han about their kids. I don't know. It sounds like it's mainly going to be about the Solo twins.
Yeah.
And their fall, or Jaina's fall, or Jason's fall. Whoever else is going to, in whatever villain, we don't know yet.
Yeah.
But
if these rumors do have to pan out to be true, which a lot of sources are saying it's true, so we'll know soon, hopefully.
So that to me, that's why we haven't heard any confirmation yet about casting, about who's in it, who's out. So that's big though.
Yeah, I mean that's all the episode 7 news that really we got. There were, I mean, just the other, I guess, big chunk of news what we were hoping for was Star Wars. I mean, the Clone Wars Rebels, not
Right.
Clone Wars, Star Wars
Rebels.
Yeah, Dave Filoni's new animation show series coming out this next fall.
August 2014.
Yeah, and we got a lot of good content from him. We got a logo.
I love the way the logo looks.
I know, it's great. We got some concept art and even some screenshots, I guess, of some animation they've done. And we have quotes saying, he hasn't done a whole lot of animation, a lot of sketches, a lot of, production, previs kind of stuff. But it's really cool. I mean, some of these images, and I'll flip it to you. I know you've seen this, but like an image like that.
Totally.
And I think the picture I'm showing Dave right now is a new ship that they've created called, I think, the Ghost. I think that's what that is. It's the new Rebellion Starfighter. It looks like an A-wing, kind of, but
almost.
And then he even gave like schematics of it and all that stuff, and all these sketches of TIE fighters and these cruisers and freighters and Star Destroyers. He was showing all the fans, and it does resemble the Clone Wars look. It's the 3D animation. It's very, it's strong edges, strong lines. It looks awesome. It looks like Clone Wars, but the color palette is very different.
It is,
and just some of the textures are kind of different because Dave Filoni has emphasized this a lot, saying they are drawing inspiration a lot from Ralph McQuarrie's storyboards and illustrations and all that stuff from the original Star Wars movies, especially Episode 4. And so basically, it's really interesting. Dave Filoni says that they have created basically what is a digital paintbrush that is very similar in resemblance to Ralph McQuarrie's style and painting. So whatever they animate an object, they'll just throw on that paintbrush texture and boom, it's like looks like this. And you can like do comparisons. Like they have a book of all these illustrations of McQuarrie stuff, and you compare that to these screenshots here. It is very similar, and so we're gonna see a show that is gonna feel exactly like the original movies. It is gonna be amazing, and they didn't say anything about the characters or anything like that, or anything story-wise. They just said, we're going to see some new characters, some characters that we were familiar with. And I think he was alluding to familiar with from the Clone Wars era and from the original movies. So,
it's a question, which means it sounds like it may take place about halfway through if you're going to do that,
Yeah, they didn't specify timeline, but Dave Filoni did say they are going to tell it chronologically. Because Clone Wars was all over the place.
Yeah.
And I think Filoni said they did that. They went non-chronological because I think George Lucas kept coming up with all these just different ideas. Right. And his ideas are all over the place. So therefore the episodes had to be all over the place. Mm-hmm. So I'm very excited. We're both very excited to see what happens. And he also talked about the Clone Wars, all the stuff that we didn't get to see, like some of the plot lines. Like he mentioned a Padme story arc, and the clips we've already seen of Plo Koon and Sifo Dyas stuff and Yoda. And he hinted that we might get to see it on TV somehow. But it might be unlikely. So they're going to push. We're going to get this content somehow.
Yeah,
we're going
to see
some the stuff that they have already made. So we will.
It's amazing because you have a whole year until this debuts.
Yeah.
Why not put it back on television? Just whatever you have, kind of thing, or I guess I'm surprised they're not just including it in the Blu-rays with season 5.
That is very interesting,
or something like that.
Indeed.
So I guess it might be just a separate disc that comes out.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I mean, it'd also be interesting if they air it on Disney.
Yes,
which they probably will.
Absolutely.
But
which I don't know when that actually starts.
I don't know.
I don't know when that Clone Wars or that Cartoon Network contract is up, but apparently it's up by next year because this is going to be on Disney XD, right?
Yeah, I will. I mean, Phineas and
Rebels.
Ferb's already doing their Star Wars thing, so we're already seeing signs of it. But so that's the Clone Wars. That's the next big thing. So now we're just kind of jump into some highlights here, the here and there and all this kind of stuff. The whole Star Wars 3D, project that we were told we were going to get all 6 movies. Then recently we were told. Basically, that's done.
Yeah.
Right? But they did do Episode 2 in 3D, and they showed it at Celebration. But it says here that that's probably the only people who are ever going to see this movie. Because it says here on the Star Wars blog, StarWars.com. It's world premiere of Episode 2 in 3D, and this might indeed be a unique chance to see a second Star Wars movie in 3D. So you might, so basically it was hinting that this is the one.
It's not coming out in theaters.
That's it, yeah. So I don't know why they wouldn't do that. I mean, it would make money, right? Didn't Episode 1?
It made some, not a lot, but I don't know what the price was for converting it.
Yeah.
I think it was, for some reason, I think it was around $50 million.
Really?
Yeah. Because they did a full-fledged conversion. It wasn't like the fake conversion that they were trying to do. They were actually going in and separating almost every shot. I mean, we saw the process at Celebration 6.
Yeah.
So I want to say that I read Lucas talk about that, how it cost so much money to do it the way they were doing it, and it took so long, over a year. Mm-hmm. So that's why we were going to get the movies every year. It was going to take that whole year to really convert it.
Yeah.
Because they had to go in and back into the plates and start shaping and all this stuff. Anyway, I wish they would have kept going with it, but obviously the sale really hindered that.
I feel like Episode 2 would have looked better than Episode 1 did, because Episode 2 was digital. But
and I think 3 would have looked incredible.
Oh yeah, and they were already saying, like, in the blog post I just read, that some of the scenes that they were saying looked really great, like the Geonosis where they were fighting the droid factory. That whole sequence was apparently looked awesome. And so a couple of the sequences, like the Camino cloning facility fight scene, that apparently looked really good too in 3D. So it's a shame, but hopefully we'll see it somehow. Disney will open the vault.
But there's also rumors circling around right now, right, of the original trilogy re-release.
Well, actually, I read on Force.net that they had misinformation about that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I don't know if that really was true.
I still think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I think you have to put those back out there before Episode 7 comes out.
Fresh memory.
To kind of spark that theater experience again.
I was having a conversation with my cousin the other day about these movies and talking about the original trilogy, and he was saying like how kids these days, younger than him, are not really seeing the prequels. I mean, the originals, so they're knowing the prequels.
Yeah, see, that's the thing.
So you have to do this. So
it's kind of like you, in a sense.
Yeah.
I mean, you grew up with the prequels when they came out.
I
mean, and I grew up with the originals, so but I have a affinity for all of them.
Oh,
but
I mean, like, I knew the originals before, and I watched them. That's why I was already a fan of Star Wars way before the prequels came out. But like kids I knew from college, grew up more with the prequels than I did, and that's all they knew. But it's interesting because
they generally like the prequels, right?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
but like it's also funny because it is a bit of a worry because they're doing 789 after the original movies, so the new generation, they have to watch those movies in order to understand the characters.
Right.
I mean, and
they're going to see an older movie.
Yeah. Well, it depends on, like we said, how involved the original characters are. But that setting it's going to happen after the whole Darth Vader thing. I mean, that's going to be a part of it regardless. The whole Skywalker or something like that.
Yeah.
So they should re-release it just to refresh everybody's minds. I mean, it sounds obvious, but we shall see. Hopefully Disney will do that. I'm sure.
And I do hope that, I understand if they don't want to go back and tweak 4, 5, and 6 like Lucas has been doing every so often.
Yeah.
But at least fix the stuff that you can fix.
Yeah.
For example, the color correction. Mm-hmm. There's something wrong with the color correction on the Blu-rays. Yeah. There is. I work in the field.
Yeah.
I color correct for a living, and it's not right.
Yeah.
It's a little too green. It's a little too blue. There's something wrong.
Yeah.
And then do me a favor, just fix all the lightsabers.
Yeah.
Man, Vader sometimes is pink.
Yeah.
There's no white blade.
Mm-hmm.
On Episode 4 when he first turns it on, it's still like a flat white.
Yeah.
Just put a blue glow around it, please. I don't know. But a part of it has to do with the color correction, because the color correction changes the color. That's what happens with Vader's pink lightsaber. The color correction changed the red, and they, for some reason, didn't refix that. Anyway, I can go on and on about that.
Don't get me started.
But man, if you can just do that, I think it would go a long way, especially like you said, with these younger kids that may be experiencing it for the first time.
Yeah.
Don't have noticeable mistakes left in there. If you don't want to go back and add a digital droid or add some stuff to it, that's fine. I can understand that. But fix the mistakes if you can.
Absolutely. But I guess moving on to some other little news, Lucasfilm has registered some new domains, and this happens a lot. This will get published new domains, and it'll eventually lead to a video game or TV show or something. So there is a new domain being registered by Disney and Lucasfilm, and it is Attack Squadrons. And that's all we know. There's like a dozen or so URLs with variations of that, like Star Wars Attack Squadrons.org, .com, whatever, all this and this. So we don't know if it's a video game or a TV show. The rumor is it's most likely going to be a video game, but we're not sure. And so that's basically all we got from that, and that's all I can really report on because we don't really know anything else. So we're just going to sit and wait and see that we might get a new video game here soon, or a new TV show. I don't know what the TV show would be. I mean,
yeah, I think it's probably a safe bet it's a video game.
Yeah, probably. But that's in addition to the video game news. They talked a little bit about Battlefront 3, or it's just called Battlefront. Though. That it is being worked on. It's coming out in 2014, the first quarter of the fiscal year 2014. So we will get a new Battlefront game, and that is talked a little bit about that already. How it's going. I've seen footage of it. Looks awesome. Can't wait to play that game because I'm a huge fan of that franchise. Huge fan. It's awesome game. But there's some other interesting rumors, and this is actually a good one to kind of a stop on. But it's episode 7 related, but it's not really. It's kind of a joke to me and to you. But some casting rumors that we need to talk about.
Right.
And I'm sure you guys have hopefully heard about this already. But last week was that there's a rumor out that Disney is considering Ryan Gosling and Zac Efron for Star Wars Episode 7. And Ryan Gosling was apparently up for the role of Luke Skywalker's son, which that's also a first we've heard about Luke Skywalker's son. It was unconfirmed about Zac Efron, and apparently they even approached Leonardo DiCaprio, who declined due to his commitment to another film. And also just to update, Ryan Gosling's representatives have debunked that rumor that he was never approached. But this came from Latino Review, and Latino Review are very defensive now. They're saying like, no, our sources say he was approached to be part of the movie. So a lot of things out there, and we haven't heard, no reports yet about Zac Efron's manager or agent or whatever about that rumor. Yeah. So what do you think about that?
Well, I think like we said, since the script's not done yet, I think it's hard. I don't think anything not coming from Lucasfilm is skeptical. Mm-hmm. So I think they've always done a great job keeping things secret, right, until they release it. So I think all of this is complete speculation. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I have nothing against Ryan Gosling. I think he's a tremendous actor. Yeah. I don't want Zac Efron in it, but and then Luke Skywalker's son. That's that's hard to say.
We're gonna get a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. Now I had a question. I had a question just pop in my head, which would be an interesting thought, because there is a format to every one of the movies, and what I mean by that is they don't ever time jump. Yeah. But I'm wondering, because of something like Star Trek, Abrams does a lot of time jump and or flashbacks possibly. Yeah. But basically what I'm saying is that, is there a possibility that we could get flashbacks in this first Star Wars movie to kind of like fill in the gap? Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't think there will be, just because I can understand they want to, maybe if they do it, I can understand why, because it's change up.
It's part of storytelling a little bit.
Yeah, storytelling, but that's the thing though. With Star Wars, we never really. I think the exposition of Star Wars was done really well. Yeah, at least the originals was. Where we were jumped in right in the beginning with a battle in all 6 of the movies, or all 3 of the movies, whatever. So I don't know. I feel like this would be something that hopefully George Lucas would say to him. Be like, this is how Star Wars is, and if you're going with a similar feel of a Star Wars movie, this is kind of how you should do it. And maybe Kathleen Kennedy would say the same thing. But maybe, who knows, maybe Abrams will do it differently. I don't know. Yeah, flashbacks, that would be very interesting. But yeah, I don't actually understand, like, the first Star Trek, how you saw a kid version of Spock, then you saw Captain Kirk, or just, Kirk, and then they grew up. So, like, boom, you had like a 20-year jump or whatever.
Exactly.
However long
Yeah,
that was.
it said, like,
15 or something.
25 years,
25
I think
years.
it was.
So, that would be interesting if we got something like that. And I wouldn't be angry about it, but it would be different.
Yeah, it would.
Flashbacks might be a bit of a stretch for me, honestly, for a Star Wars movie. But I don't think I'll hate it. But that would be interesting.
Well, it would have to me. It would have to be a flashback in a sense because the crawl would set up the current time,
right?
So it would have to be. I think if you showed anything in the past, it'd have to be a flashback, which I'm not sure I would.
I don't know.
I would be okay with, honestly, because I think that's what the books or the comics, the TV shows, that's what they do is they fill in the gaps.
That's what I was going to say. So, that they would probably come out with some, because that's the thing nowadays is to have a prequel comic book,
right?
Prequel,
or you have a TV show in between.
Show. So that would be.
You don't do the Clone Wars in the movies. You do it in a TV show. So I think I would probably be 100% against that, but for some reason I just thought of that. Like if you're because then I was thinking if they cast a younger kid, is he like a younger Jason Solo, or something like that, and then they show him as a teenager kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be
anyway
strange.
All right, so is that all the major news?
That's all I can think of.
Well, and then the last major news was the announcement of the next celebration,
right? Coming
to you April 16th. Is that right?
Yep.
16th through the 18th or 19th?
19th. Let me pull it up real quick. 16th through the 19th.
Anaheim, California.
Yeah, so squashed what we've been saying recently, how we thought it was
always be
next year in Orlando, Florida.
But I think there's a good reasoning for this.
There is, indeed. Yeah, they're Anaheim, California. If you listen to our show last week, I believe it was last week, where I mentioned the Star Wars themed park, park would be not Disney World, but Disneyland, which is in Anaheim, California.
That's right.
So there you go.
So I'm assuming that's right around the time it'll probably be open for people that want to go to this.
Or some soft open or something like that.
Because I'm going to this. I don't know. I'm going to
try my hardest to go to this.
I'm going to this.
Well, they're selling tickets really soon, aren't they?
I was about to say, if you go to StarWarsCelebration.com, there is a countdown right now. In 8 days, 5 hours, 57 minutes, and 48 seconds is what I'm looking at right now.
Yeah.
They are going to go on sale August 7th at 7 a.m. Pacific time. So if you're in the East Coast like we are, 10 o'clock in the morning on August 7th, you'll be able to purchase tickets to a 2015 event, not 2014, everybody.
Yeah.
This is April 2015. A month, I'm assuming, before Episode 7 comes out.
Probably.
I'm assuming they're going to put out May. Every movie comes out in May.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what they did for the first 3 celebrations.
Mm-hmm.
They were in April, the previous month before the release of Episode 1, Episode 2, Episode 3. Episode 4 was in May as well, 30 years after the release of Episode 4. Celebration 5 and 6 were in August. The ones we went to in Orlando. So they weren't exactly around the time, but they came out. Celebration 5 was 30 year of Empire Strikes Back. The 29 years was Return. They kind of did it a little earlier.
Yeah.
That I don't know the complete reasoning for, but they just did Celebration 6 a little earlier. This year actually is the 30th anniversary of Return of the Jedi. So they kind of did that theme. There were shirts at Celebration Europe, 30 years. Mm-hmm. So anyway, they're now doing away, what seems like they're doing away with the numericals. Mm-hmm. This is not Celebration 7. This is just Star Wars Celebration Anaheim, which forever they were calling it Celebration 2 Europe.
Yeah.
But if you go to their website, it's not. It's just dubbed Celebration Europe now. Yeah. So they apparently have gotten rid of the numerical connotations of it, and they're just sticking with the names of the venues. Yeah. So
does that mean it'll never come back to Orlando unless they call it Orlando 3 or something like that? Because it'd be the third time they've been there.
I think they're just going to keep calling it Orlando.
Yeah, Celebration Orlando.
Yeah, just Star Wars Celebration, and then it's the location. Because I guarantee it, they'll do another Europe.
Yeah.
You know, maybe 2016 or something like that. It'll be Celebration Europe again, so that they'll go to, I don't know. They went to London first, I think, and then they went to Germany. But they'll probably do another Asian one. They've done Celebration Asia.
Yeah.
But anyway, the most important thing is that it's in the States.
Yeah.
And I get to go. So I will definitely be. I'm going to see. I wish they kind of gave out what you can buy. Because I really want to do like the VIP level.
Absolutely. Yes.
But I just don't know how much it is. I wish they would tell us how much it is and, you know, how many they're giving. Because Celebration 6, there was a limit. I think there was only 250 people that can get VIPs. Now, you're talking about a venue that 50,000 people go to. And you're only handing out 250 of them. So, and then they only gave out 50 Jedi Master, what was called Jedi Master passes. So you're talking only 300 of that many people. I don't even know if I can get one because, you know, they might be reserved in a sense. I don't know. I just wish we were told what we can get right now. It doesn't seem like we're going to until Wednesday after next, which is August 7th. So, so that was the last big news. Next Celebration, which I'm just assuming based on the timeline now that we will get our first glimpse at Episode 7 probably at Comic-Con next year.
Probably, yeah.
Which is a year from now.
Yeah. I mean, we still have D23 coming up, but I don't think we'll get much.
Yeah, that's like in the next week or two.
Yeah.
Right?
So I think if anything, we'll get video game stuff, maybe, or maybe a little bit more Rebels.
Maybe some more Rebel stuff.
But that's that's not much else. But
maybe some more news on the Clone Wars.
Yeah. So, but
Episode 7, they don't start shooting till earlier next year.
Yeah.
That'll be prime for a film trailer next summer.
Yes, indeed.
Man,
I wonder if they'll do super early ticket sales, because I remember in Episode 3, I bought my tickets like 6 months in advance, I think.
Really?
It was like really early.
I didn't get it that early.
I got it in the winter time.
Wow. I would assume they will definitely do pre-sales, but I don't know when. But I would buy them right now.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I would buy them right now. And they should try that.
How
many does it actually sell 2 years in advance?
Yeah.
Because that year, I mean, we've already mentioned it all across our networks.
Gosh,
the year of movies.
crazy.
Oh my gosh. I can't even think of.
I gotta save up money so I can
A
see all
year.
these movies.
Yeah, because I'm going to see them all multiple times.
Yeah. Like, what's coming out next year, though? I feel like nothing's coming out next year. We got like
Captain America
and Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy. But
That's
nothing from DC.
Nope.
I don't think.
Nope. They're filming. Yeah, they'll be filming their.
I mean, Man of Steel 2, yeah, they're shooting next year.
Yeah, in Toronto, I read.
And then they'll probably be starting a Flash movie then as well, if not the year after. But
yeah, maybe.
I mean, they're working on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're talking Batman. You're talking Batman and Superman in the same movie that year. You're talking Avengers 2 that year. You're talking about Episode 7.
Yeah. Probably. I feel like there's a new Pirates that year. I don't know, but Independence Day.
Oh yeah.
James Bond.
Gosh,
No, not Star Trek 3, but
is Star Trek 3 then?
I don't think so. Maybe
that would be.
But Ant-Man, I think, comes out that year.
Yes, that does.
Some other sequels and some other franchises. Transformers.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Those are like all the movies I want to see like multiple times. Holy cow. And plus I'm going to Celebration that year. I'm going to be broke.
I think next year we get the next X-Men movie too. But this is tangent.
Anyway.
But I actually want to, just reminded me too, you mentioned me the other day, something happened to Rise of the Troopers that you're actually afraid of now, the whole Disney stuff.
That's true. Yeah, our fan films, and we've gotten comments about this. I got an email, several emails about it, because I didn't even know about it.
Yeah.
But our fan films are on YouTube. The Unknown Discovery was the first one we did back in 2005, and then we did 2007, and we did the prequel, Rise of the Troopers. Well, we used John Williams' music in the opening crawls, and we used them at the end credits to kind of make it fit into the Star Wars universe as a, episode titled movie. We did, ours were episode 4.5 and 3.8, kind of, they're comedy spoofs in a sense. So, but anyway, obviously I knew YouTube doesn't, they take offense against copyrighted material or whatever. We knew we got flagged for the music. But we're not the only ones that use it.
Yeah.
There's other ones that use it. So anyway, and the thing about it is what's strange is that, and I think this lends itself to the quality of the films, that we actually got flagged for visual content as well.
Right.
Claiming that we used Star Wars footage, which we never did. Everything on there is created by us and or animation company. So I had to dispute a lot of those, and we got those. We won those. So the only thing that was flagged was the music. Well, just this past week, the Unknown Discoveries, the entire audio track has been muted. So I apologize that if you go try to watch our fan films, the one titled The Unknown Discovery, right now there's no audio. I'm looking into what to do about this, what I can do about this, to try to get that, because we obviously do not make any money. We're not trying to claim any money from these films. These are just for they're fan films. Under the stipulations of Lucas before the merger, or before the buyout, I should say, that everything was free reign in the Star Wars universe as long as you don't profit from it. So that's why every fan film uses, lightsaber sounds, which are trademarked, the Star Wars music, the Star Wars logo, characters, costumes. There's multiple fan films out there, and we were fortunate enough to be able to make a couple of them, and I wanted them to fit in the timeline. I mean, we made our cover DVDs look like the original, so you can sit on your shelf right in between them. But anyway, so the bottom line is our fan. I'm afraid for Rise of the Troopers, because I think that's eventually going to get taken down as well, because it contains the same music at the same points. So I'll see what I can do, because they're also dubbed, categorized basically as spoofs, because we spoof a bunch of stuff. You're actually granted liberties as well by making a spoof. So we should. I'm looking into it. Hopefully, we can get that stuff back on there, and we'll see. But right now, it seems like the Lucas film without Lucas, seems like Disney may be cracking down on some fan films. Hopefully that's not the case, but I don't know what that means, because like I said, it wasn't any problem until this buyout happened. So
I want to jump in here. I just read a tweet from a friend of mine talking about Star Wars of a casting rumor, and it freaked me out. So I looked into it. So I'm pretty sure it's fake. Said Justin Bieber has apparently been cast as Han Solo's son.
Oh God!
And I looked it up, and there is a news article reporting it. This news article is written on April 1st, so April Fool's Day joke, I'm sure. But why is it being reported? Why is it being talked about again now?
Yeah,
so,
I don't know.
But yes, I mean, it was a joke, so it was just kind of, freaked me out a bit. So if anybody out there is suddenly reading these reports about Justin Bieber being cast as Han Solo's son, they are not real. So don't even read them, please.
Yeah.
I just wanted to address that because it freaked me out there for a second.
Not going to happen.
Oh, gosh.
Okay. So a little bit about the card game.
Yeah.
There was, I think we mentioned it last week, there was an expansion to the card game that came out called Edge of Darkness. And we've mentioned it a few times that you are, in the card game, you play as a light side player or the dark side against the dark side player. There's what's called 3 affiliations to each side. The light side, you can choose to be the Rebel Alliance, the Jedis, or the newly added out of the expansion, the smugglers and spies, which contain a lot of your smugglers like Han Solo, Lando, and it has Chewbacca and the Millennium Falcon and all this stuff. On the dark side, you can be, obviously, the Sith the Imperial Navy, or now, because of the expansion, the Scum and Villainy, which are the bounty hunters, in a sense. Boba Fett, Bosk, Greedo. You can, there's sand people and stuff like that. So now we had all those cards. You can build either a big deck with you can mix affiliations. You can keep them separate. You can build your deck any way you like. That's what the beauty of these card games are. Not just this game, but all the games that are out there. So Casey, we had family in town. We had our cousin, your cousin, my
your
nephew. Yeah, it's my nephew. Oh, what am I thinking? Yes, your cousin, my nephew. We had Graham in here and taught him the game.
Yes,
which ultimately led to him buying it.
He's hooked.
And me, your brother Corey, Master Koo, and Graham, we played some major battles. We were going at it. It was pretty much from Wednesday. It was like Wednesday. We played while we went out of town for a trip.
Yeah, we played that one night.
The first time we played with those decks.
Yeah.
I was Scum and Villainy. You were Smugglers and Spies. I really liked Scum and Villainy, but then we kind of mixed them in different. We were trying decks out, basically.
Yeah,
what we were doing. So, what do you feel like you like better, mixing decks or?
Well, for Smugglers and Spies, definitely mixing that with something else, I believe, because by itself, I just didn't feel like I had a whole lot of power in fighting you against just the Scum and Villainy. And then like today I was like I did a big overhaul of my decks. I condensed and made them smaller and stuff like that. So I have like basically my Jedi deck with I think it's all Jedi. I feel like it's Jedi with a couple of Smugglers and Spies, the more powerful ones and stuff like that. And then I did like a Rebels just mixed in with the rest, some other Smugglers and Spies, but I might not even use it. So, but I think they're good complementaries, and if they because their cards are used to attack and all that stuff to defend, so I picked them because of that, because they have some strong characters in that sense also. But also my dark side deck, I chose the Imperial Navy, and it's mainly the Imperial Navy. I don't have any Scum and Villainy in it because although they're a very strong deck,
it is. I
feel like a lot of it can be strong by in itself, maybe mixed in with a couple of different things too. So. I like Scum and Villainy more than Smugglers and Spies. I feel like that's more powerful. But
yeah. I made what I thought was a strong a mixed light side and a mixed dark side. Mm-hmm. So I missed all three of each. Remember where I think I got to a point where I had like 14 objectives in each one.
Yeah.
Even though I won the games I played, the 2 games I played, I felt like there was too much. I just felt like there was too much.
Absolutely.
I never got to the good cards. I got enough to win, but it was really by the skin of my teeth. I won a couple of games. So I actually went back and I separated all into individual, complete individuals. There's no affiliation matches I'd have to do, and a lot of people might not even understand what we're saying.
Yeah.
But if you get into the game, you'll really understand what we're saying. But because if you mix affiliations, there might be a time when it comes up that you won't be able to play a card because you have to get a resource off the matching affiliation. So by keeping one affiliation, you're guaranteed to be able to play whatever card you have as long as you have the resources for it. But so the first one I played with was actually the Rebel Alliance against you. When I got,
I was the Imperial Navy.
You were in the Imperial Navy
mixed with some Sith.
Yeah. And I mean, because of that trench run card, that deck was. I felt like that deck was really strong. Then I was the Imperial Navy.
Yeah,
I felt like that was even stronger.
That was really strong.
My Jedi deck, not so strong. And what happened was after we played that game, you actually beat me.
That was
crazy. Tough because it came down to the last play. And actually looking back, there were a couple things I could have done to possibly prolong it. I don't know if I would have survived, but I think I could have had another turn.
Yeah.
But anyway, I look back at that deck, and the Jedis that's a very weak deck as far as attacking, because as a light side player, you have to attack. I mean, that's the only way you can win.
Yeah.
And I looked on there. I actually pulled all the cards that had what we call blast damage for objectives. And I want to say that I think, the black ones are the ones you have, right? The white ones you have to earn. But the black ones, I think I only counted 5 out of the entire Jedi deck. The 3 of them came from that red 5 card that you captured. So I only had 2, the entire deck. Now, what I did find out is because you're filled with Jedis, Luke, Obi-Wan, Yoda, a lot of Force users. There's a ton of enhancement cards that give combat icons to. So you have to do it that way.
Yeah.
Which I guess would work.
Yeah.
Because in a sense, like I said, if I was able to play a next hand, like the next cards in my deck were a lot of fate cards. Luke Skywalker was in there, so who has targeted strike. So I feel like I could have done a lot of damage the next turn, but I just couldn't get to the next turn.
And also, that makes sense to make the Jedis not as powerful because they're peacekeepers.
That's right.
They're not really soldiers. So that makes a lot of sense. And
it does.
You also have the Hoth expansion or the Force packs,
yes.
Right? And
you don't.
I don't have that. No. So my Rebel deck won't be as strong as your Rebel deck. So I think right now my strongest decks might be my Imperial Navy mixed with a little bit of Sith.
Yeah.
And then my Jedi deck, and then Scum and Villainy. Actually, I feel like my Scum and Villainy is pretty powerful.
I want to try. Like I said, I want to try out the other ones, the Scum and Villainy, especially the Sith one. I think because I feel like the Sith is going to be similar to
your Jedi,
the Jedi, because they don't have a lot. They do have a lot of vehicles and like TIE bombers and TIE fighters and stuff like that. But Vader as a Sith card and Palpatine are strong cards. So yeah, I want to try it. I got 3 I tried out. 2 of them I really like. So the other 3 I want to try. Like I said, I've already done really Scum and Villainy. So I think that's a strong deck. I like that. But anyway, we're really into the Star Wars card game. I think it's hopefully it catches on. And we had talked about it. Hopefully Celebration sponsors it or does like a little tourney or something. We're actually kind of talking to a company that highly supports our network here, the 21 Network, A+ Comics. They have a ton of seating area for tournaments. They do a ton of tournaments for Magic. There's a couple workers there including the owner, that want to learn Star Wars the card game. So it's possible that we might be moving our gaming there a little bit at some point,
Yeah, that'd be cool.
But it's a great game. It's a great game I'm telling you, it's a very strategic, thought-provoking game. I mean, you can't just get a card in your hand and play it. I mean, there's some strategy to it, which is really, really cool.
I mean, most of my afternoon today was figuring out my deck.
I know.
I was sitting there, like all the cards, like, okay, what do I need?
Yes. It's great. It's a really cool game. It doesn't. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say what's expensive or not, but I mean the core set is $30. I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's $29.95 is the core set, and the expansion I think is $24.95. That'll get you all 6 affiliations basically, and then there are what's called force packs, which are just a few more objectives. Right now they're doing what's called a Hoth series. There's 6 packs, 4 of them are out right now. That kind of just gives you more different strategies, but all centered around the Hoth battle, which I think I've read that the next one would be the Endor battle, where they do a lot more Ewoks, because they've already given you one Ewok thing, but you're going to get more Ewok stuff, more Imperial speeders, like the
scout troopers
and stuff like that. Yeah, you'll probably get a lot of that.
Sand troopers.
And I think what's cool is that, like, what we'll see more too, like you said, because since there is 2 more Hoth packs, like right now they released a Vader in the Hoth packs.
Yeah.
So you have a Vader Sith and you have a Vader Imperial Navy. So I think you're going to see that more. I think in the Hoth pack we're going to get a Luke, a different Luke.
That'd be cool.
Maybe a different Han, something like that. So I think that so you'll be able to mix them in.
Yeah.
The rebels, because we need a rebel. You need a rebel Luke and a rebel.
We ought to get
Han.
Coup Master on here. Talk about
talk about it. Yeah, we will.
He started all this.
I know. He's the one that introduced us to it. Yeah, introduced me. I never thought about getting into card games. And he asked me about Magic, I was like, I am not doing that. But as soon as Star Wars came up, I mean, come on, it's Star Wars.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're real, especially do what we do. We put the movie on in the background, and we're playing Star Wars. I mean, what else could you want? It's like, what did he do on there?
Yeah,
that's what I want to do. No, it's great. It really is, and it's centered. There's no. That's the beauty of it right now is there's nothing in it from the prequels. Mm-hmm. It's all really original trilogy based stuff right now. I think eventually they will get to that as well.
That'll be interesting.
Mace.
They got to do a multiplayer one too.
Because you got to get Mace Windu in there.
Yeah, Darth Maul.
Yeah. Oh gosh!
Imagine you can still have a Sidious. You'll still have a Sidious.
Yes,
one.
have a
another
Sidious
Yoda,
card.
Obi-Wan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, younger ones.
More Jedi.
Versions.
There'll be more Jedi cards.
Totally, Plo Koon.
Yeah, Kit Fisto.
Yeah,
all those guys.
yeah. So
Django.
Oh yeah, that'll definitely be another expansion. Now the next expansion that they've already announced is the multiplayer expansion.
Yeah.
Meaning that you'll be able to play one dark side versus 2 or 3 light side players, and then you'll be able to do a 2-on-2, which is they'll add more cards to it that'll just lend itself to the multiplayer. You won't be able to use all of them individually. Some are just meant for the multiplayer, but that would be fun.
Yeah,
that'd be fun. So we highly recommend the card game. We'll keep you up to date on our battles. Because we are battling it out. If I wasn't so tired, we probably would battle one out now, but I got to get to bed. Okay. Anyway, we'll finish up like we always do with some trivia. That's right? That's all we got to talk about.
That's all we got for you guys.
It's a big episode here with Inside the Force trivia. Actually, before I get into trivia, I'll let you all know we are part of the 21 Network. 21network.com. You can go there and subscribe and listen to all the latest podcasts from all 6 podcasts. The Hail Mary podcast, KooCast, Inside the Force, of course, 21 Network, Popular Fanatics, and In the Comics. On there is the latest videos that we've done. Right now, what's on there is our video from Inside the Force called Who Shot First, where we debate on the whole Han and Greedo shooting in episode 4, what we like and don't like about the changes. InsideTheForce.com is this website for this podcast. You can listen to all the shows right there on the website. Follow us on Twitter at Inside the Force. Follow me. I am DCottingham21. Casey is Kryptonian1138. Hit us up for ideas, thoughts, questions. And I will reveal after we do trivia what we're doing next month.
That's right. Yeah.
So right now, trivia-wise, I am batting under 500. I am 8-10. Casey is 10-8. Starting to take a commanding lead. And next up is question 1321. Seems like we are getting into the original trilogy with this. 1321 is coming from A New Hope era. And here we go. Ready, Casey?
Ready.
Okay, 1321. Who said, evacuate in our moment of triumph?
I feel like this is actually a quote I said in one of
Do
the
you
shows.
even need to?
No.
It's,
Will Huff.
Yeah. Yes, Will Huff. Okay, so that's obviously the answer.
Yeah.
And,
Grand Moff Tarkin.
Yeah, it's D here. Let's hit D. And that's
there we go.
All
that's
right.
trivia for the day.
I haven't.
The week.
I haven't got one right in a while, so I'm glad we got that one. Okay.
Yeah.
So that
I feel like that was the quote I said in the
I think it might be. Yeah.
episode.
This. So that makes me 9-10. That makes Casey 11-8. All right. So keeping track there through 19 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Listen back for all the answers and questions of trivia in the past 18 episodes. Next month, we are actually we did Rebel Alliance month.
Mm-hmm.
The first time we themed it. This month was Bounty Hunter month. Next week we start what? Systems Month. Does anybody know what that means?
Systems.
We're going to be talking about planets and, systems in general, but it's probably a specific planet that they are named for. Basically, for example, we talked about Corellia already, which is part of the Corellian system. And we've talked about Coruscant, which is our very, very first episode. So we will, I think those are the only 2 planets we've done. Yeah. So we will get into planets. If you got a suggestion, send it to us at Inside the Force, or info@insidetheforce.com is our email. If you got a suggestion for a planet right now, we're just debating on ones to do. Alderaan, definitely, possibly. Maybe ones that have been in the movies, possibly more about Tatooine. Some you've heard about, like Dantooine, Ord Mantell. What was some of the ones you mentioned, Clone War-wise?
Cato Pneumonia.
Kamino.
Yeah, maybe even Utapau.
Utapau, yeah. What's that one? Mon Calamari.
Mon Calamari, yeah.
What was it one? What was the one you said? Cato Pneumonia. Is that the one that's
upside down?
Yeah. That's
New
pretty cool.
Gunnery's planet.
Yes, that's pretty cool. Yeah. I like that. That was in the Force Unleashed as well.
Yeah,
I think
second one.
So that's definitely something we might hit on to. Anyway, so Systems Month, we'll start that. We've already kind of planned out, actually, our next few months, I think. September, we'll go ahead and hint at September. September, we're kind of lining up a little bit with DC Comics. What they're doing what's called Villain Month.
September or October?
September.
Okay.
Is Villains Month of in the comics, where something's going to happen to the heroes and we're going to get a lot of villains. So we might do something on that line as far as the bad guys go. And then October, we got something lined up for a special release that's happening in October. So, all right, that's the show for this week. We appreciate everybody checking us out. Follow us on Twitter. Hit us up and subscribe to us through the 21network.com website, as well as our own InsideTheForce.com. That was a good show. That was a lot. We've been dying to do something like that. Get it all out.
Yeah.
All right. For Casey Cooley.
What if he doesn't survive? He's worth a lot to me. So there you go.
There you go.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, whoever just jumps in on these episodes, why did he just say that? Why did he say that line?
Well, he's saying that.
Yeah.
Because Casey wants to give a quote every time.
Yeah,
right?
that's my signature thing.
Yes.
Giving quotes at the end of the show.
Yes.
So that's a Boba Fett. Because Zuckuss doesn't say anything.
That's right. It's bounty hunter themed, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Come on, people.
And mine is, may the Force be with you.
This has been a production of the 21 Network, a collection of weekly podcasts. For more great podcasts, visit 21network.com. To view additional content, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/21network. Follow us on Twitter at 21network for the latest news and updates. The 21 Network, for the fan and all of us.